Okay.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. Hey,
Hello.
here, Adam. Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Here, Adam. You double talking or what?
I'm here.
I think it pulled up. Oh.
Good evening.
I don't know if you can see me or not. I'm trying to get there.
See Steven.
There's a bird singing.
I do too. I think we have all board members.
Where'd you go?
All right, well, good evening, everyone. 6 o'clock, and we'll go ahead and get the Wabash City School Board meeting for May 18th started. Roll call.
Looks like everybody's here.
All right, will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag,
of the
United States of America,
and
to
to the republic
for
for which it stands,
one
one
nation
nation,
under
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We begin every Wabash City School Board meeting with our mission statement. Wabash City Schools provides a relevant and rigorous education founded upon relationships to ensure each student is college and career ready for success in the global community. Welcome everyone, and welcome everyone who's viewing through YouTube. Any recognitions?
Yeah, I would. We have Stephanie Veit and Adam Whitmer from Hagerman with us tonight.
All right, well, welcome. Revisions to the agenda.
Yeah, we do have one revision to item D, which is our lunch prices. And there will also be, that'll impact item C, which is our OJ Neighbors student handbook. I'll go ahead and bring up that revision real quick. Maybe. There's the revision to item D. So basically in the handbook, these are the accurate lunch prices. So when we get to the handbook in item C and then also in item D, I'll just bring this up and we'll make the revision of the accurate lunch prices.
I'll accept the motion to approve the revision.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Everybody in favor of approving the revision, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item H, consent agenda. We've got minutes from the April 20th meeting, claims, few donations, and financials. Take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion?
Mr. Stone, would you like to pick up on the financials as I'm pulling it up?
Yeah, and I have it in front of me, so I mean, we could wait for them to see it, but you'll see the one thing is operations in the negative, and that it doesn't worry me, but because of what they've done with taxes can be late, we may not get our money like we normally did in June. It could be July or August. And so we may need to look at transferring some money into that fund if we don't get money in June, just so that at our 6-month thing with our Form 9, it doesn't look crazy. From what we've been told, you know, they've pushed back 2 months when taxes are due. So it could be August before we get our draw. We don't know for sure yet, but that's the only thing. I mean, and you can see we have enough money in rainy day and protected fund to cover what's negative there, and our debt account has a good balance in it right now compared to the past couple of years. So we have the money to cover it. It's just not knowing when that tax draw is going to come in, but everything else, you know, looks good. We've been holding steady at about 350, 400,000 below where we were last year. And with all the things we added, that's, you know, been right on. But just that negative operations worries me. It doesn't worry me now, it worries me later if we don't get our tax money.
What is protected fund usually used for?
It's really just like rainy day. It's kept in a state fund and we get interest on it. That's why you see it goes up all the time. And if you keep track by the month, you'll see that the rainy day doesn't really go up because we're not making any interest on it. But the protected fund does. We draw interest on it. So it's really the same thing as rainy day. We're making some interest on it. It's invested. We can access it fairly easily, but we couldn't access it as easily as we do the rainy day fund.
And Matt, you want to share where that protected fund came from?
Sure. When we switched over from, and this is 2 insurance changes ago now, when we switched over to become our own self-funded insurance, that money came from that insurance fund that we had built up. And so when we went from our own self-funded to the consortium that we were in, we put that money in the protected fund. So it's money we had built up in an insurance fund, and it's our money. And so we put it in with the state, and the state holds it for us, and that's how we draw the interest. And so it's been, heck, that's what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had that protected fund now for about 10 years.
So if the tax draw was delayed, you would probably recommend pulling from the rainy day then to cover that in the interim?
To just cover that until we got our tax draw in August, right? I mean, and all that takes now is just a board motion and recommendation and we could do that and we could transfer it right back. I mean, they've made it pretty easy for us to do that. Cafeteria is a little low, but the reimbursements have been a little slow this summer, but I know Susan said that we were getting a big one this week. So our cafeteria numbers should look back to normal in May, at the end of May.
Any other questions for Mr. Stone on the financials? If no other discussion or questions, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next regular scheduled board meeting will be Monday, June 15th, 2020 at Wabash City Hall.
Yeah. I think we're gonna
Although
go June
we'll
1st.
probably do we're going to do a June 1st, and we're going to do a Zoom. So that that will be different than what is stated here.
And we'll advertise that. I'll have Ms. Kugler send that out, but we'll look to do that June 1st meeting via Zoom.
All right. We have a few lines of communication. New business, project update by Hagerman.
Adam, Stephanie?
I'm gonna
Good
let
evening.
Adam take this one.
I think you guys were given the packets of our updates. A lot's changed in the last month. And Jason, are you gonna share the? Yep, there it is. You
I
gonna
think
share the
so.
video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if I can there it is.
So something cool about this one, you're going to see that slider bar. We've got some new software as we're ever evolving with technology that shows week to week a digital image of job site. So it's kind of new. You guys, if you pay attention to that, you can definitely see week to week here. So the concrete slab's down. We're getting ready to set steel. 2 weeks from now, we're going to set all the steel members and joist and deck for the addition at LH Carpenter. We were slated to start on site utilities this week, but that got delayed from rain.
Adam, at any point I can pause it, so just let me know if it goes too fast.
It's good. There's not a lot of action over at the middle school connector. We've been working underground, getting all the storm utilities in place before we start digging foundations. We're slated to start foundations next week. Now you can see our laydown area there, which will be your future solar field, our trailer down there behind the baseball field. So we've got the storm almost connected. We should be finalized out with underground utilities for the connector sometime late this week or early next week, so we can start digging for footers. And then a lot's been happening over at the gym. I'll jump ahead of the video here. We are complete with foundations. Floor slab is slated to start pouring that next week, mid to late next week. Also, the end of this week, we are looking to set the new beam that's going to span over the middle section there. You can see there's some Viz Queen. That's one end of where the new beam goes to span over the new visitor seating area in the upper deck. So that's slated to happen Thursday or Friday. And then we're going to continue with slabs next week. And then following that, masonry will be showing up, and we'll start building walls and getting that upper deck precast ready to show up. So you guys all have handouts. We've made a lot of good progress inside of LH Carpenter. We jumped ahead and we ended up tearing out that multi-purpose area where your administration used to be. So that's pretty much wiped out. I know they're inside demo and beam pockets for some new structural members for some of the connecting steel from the existing building to the new. We're really happy with progress at LH Carpenter and the gym. We just need some good weather here in the next few weeks to kickstart the connector, and that should take off like a fire. Other than that, does anybody have any questions for the construction team? Any specifics we can answer for you?
I don't have any questions. Just it's been a lot of fun to see the progress. So certainly appreciate everybody's efforts.
If there's any time that the board would like to do a tour of the job site in an evening, you guys just try to coordinate that through Jason and Matt. I'm local, so I would be more than happy to give you guys an on-site update sometime if that's something preferable. That's not uncommon. Just something to throw out there if you guys are ever interested in a more inclusive update and kind of up close view of what's really going on out there. I'd be more than happy to schedule that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Maybe a little bit later as some of the COVID-19 restrictions ease up a little bit more. Maybe we could do something like that. So thanks for the offer.
Yeah, and the boards are now up at the LH Carpenter site and also on the corner of Harrison and Albert that show those three projects. And then once we get started here on alumni track and field, we'll get that up as well. But it looks really good.
All right. Do we have any other questions for Hagerman on the project update? All right. If not, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item B, approve recommendation to hire Dave Snavely as the middle school, high school second shift corporation grounds custodian starting May 26th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion?
Yeah, this position, and we were really looking to fill this back in March before COVID-19 shut us down. But this position will fill Mr. Barlow's position. So certainly want to welcome Mr. Snavely, who's been driving buses for us.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Will he be driving bus and a custodian?
Yes. They're gonna, at least we're gonna try. Yes.
And I just want to remind you that Mr. Barlow did the same thing for us.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Right, if not, those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, approve updated OJ Neighbors Student Handbook for the 2020-2021 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A motion and a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Discussion?
Yeah, I think if Miss Philippi, she put together the recommendation, if she's with us, if you have anything to add, Miss Philippi, I believe the changes that I understood were mostly clerical. I think included Mr. Defo, who became a board member this year. Beth, are you with us?
Yes, same here. And that is correct. The only updates that we did on the handbook since we had it approved the last time with attendance would be the increased lunch prices and then adding Stephen Defoe to the board. Other than that, there was no changes.
And maybe, and Ms. Tandy could probably help direct us, but we may need to revise the recommendation to include the updated lunch prices, which will go to $2.70 at OJ Neighbors, which is a 10% increase or 10-cent increase. And Mr. Stone, do you want to go ahead and provide that update? I think we've talked about it as a board before. We have to do this increase every year. And I think we've chosen 10 cents to be the amount.
Well, and if for the people who remember, or maybe you don't remember, I'll remind you, when we had our federal audit about a year and a half ago, we were way behind in what we were supposed to be charging. And so we didn't want to try to put it all in at once. So we did one mid-year one, and now we're trying to do 10 cents until we get caught up. And then they recommend you do 5 cents a year. So another year, we should be pretty close to caught up, and then it'll probably go to just 5 cents a year. We'd start raising it. But they recommend that you don't wait, that you don't try to do it 15 cents and then don't do it for 3 years. So we're just trying to get caught up. And then when we do it, it'll probably be 5 cents a year. But it's just, yeah, this will be standard from now on, just to try to get us where we're supposed to be.
That was due to the result of a state audit.
Yeah, it's actually a federal audit, but yeah, I mean, and so they're like, they came in and said, man, you're way behind on what your lunch prices are supposed to be. And we were, I mean, when they showed us, we were like 35 cents behind. And so, like I said, this is just, and they gave us permission to catch up this way and not do it all at once, which, my gosh, that would not have been good for anybody. And so, like I said, we'll get to a point where we're supposed to be, and then they recommend you do 5 cents a year.
Have we been losing money on school lunches or what?
Well, this year will be really hard to tell because we went ahead and fed everyone, even though nobody was paying for the last 2 months. But we did. We were at a point about 5 years ago, where our lunch account was about zero. Yeah, and so and now we're in a good place, right? I mean, we're trying to get back where we should be, where Melanie can replace some equipment and do some things that they need to do. And so we're getting there. I don't know how these last 2 months have affected us. We're waiting until the end of the school year hits, and then we're going to try to figure that out.
So do all kitchen costs come out of school lunches?
Except for the custodian. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. They're as close to self-sufficient as you can be. I mean, we pay their electric bill, right? I mean, we pay for the facilities. And then we pay the custodians, but she's paying for all of her own workers and all the food costs.
So do we need,
Yeah, Jordan, would you recommend that we just amend the motion to be accept the handbook with the addition of the lunch prices to reflect $2.70?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So I don't know who made the motion.
I made the motion.
Just amend it and then the second, and then
Okay, I moved to amend the.
Before you do that, Rhonda,
Okay,
Jason, the agenda says that we're raising the elementary price from $2.50 to $2.60.
actually it's going to be,
well, this is what I received
Okay,
from.
so the agenda was wrong, so that's good. I'm glad we're cleaning it up then.
Yep. Yeah, this was the revised, so we have to do that as well.
Okay.
so what am I moving? What am I supposed? Sorry, my son's talking to me.
No,
So I
all-
move that we accept the revision to the
Yep.
handbook?
no, yes, to reflect the updated lunch price.
Yeah.
Okay, do I need to say that, or is it good that you
Mr.
said that?
Stone got it, I think, in the minute.
I do. I have it.
So, and then we just need a second.
Second.
okay, so we've got a motion to approve with the revision and a second. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Item D, approve recommendation to raise lunch prices for the 2020-2021 school year as follows. Elementary prices will increase from is it 260 to 270?
Yes.
And then middle school, high school prices will increase from 260 to 270. So I have a,
So moved.
what is that? High school from 270 to 280.
270 to 280.
Okay, I misspoke. The middle school, high school is also being revised. It will be from 270 to 280 instead of the 260 to 270 as stated in the agenda. So do I have a motion to approve with the revisions?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of approving the raised and lunch prices, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item E, approve recommendation for the following employees to work the 2020 Summer Food Service Program at their hourly daily rate, sub pay, or stipend. And we've got a list of 20 individuals with their hours there. Can I get a motion to approve everyone on the list?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion?
Yeah, I would just say this has been a really strange year for a lot of reasons, but you know, we've really been doing the summer lunch program since March. So I guess I would just like to take the opportunity to thank all of these individuals who have been working and who will continue to work over the summer, serving lunches, breakfast lunches to our students year round.
And if I could, I'd add that today the USDA approved what Melanie wanted to do for the summer for the whole country, that you can still serve food to students who are not on site, that you can give it to their parents when they pick it up, just the way we've been doing our regular lunches now. And so that's how she will continue, and they'll just take the week of Memorial Day off, and they'll start back up on June 1st, doing lunches Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and breakfast.
So no on-site. It'll all be pickup and delivery.
Yeah, yeah. Just like they've been doing it the last couple months. Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the recommendation, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Items from the superintendent.
Yeah, the first thing I'd like to say is I'd like to update everybody on our graduation plans. I'm just really, really proud of our administration, Mr. Whelan, and guidance department, and teachers who have worked on these plans, prom plans, academic awards plans. Really, they've really tried to find the yes to ensure that our kids get the proper recognition. Mr. Kelsheimer and I both have kids who are graduating this year, and we know that you know, it seems really strange for them. I was talking to my son last night, and he's like, I didn't know when I left that last day that it was going to be the last day of school. And I'm sure they all felt that way. And I've heard a lot of positive praise for the work that the high school has done to recognize kids, our athletic department, Mr. McQuirk, to recognize our student athletes. I just feel like we keep looking for ways to recognize this group of seniors. Graduation plans, we kind of wanted a both and plan. Our kids, when Mr. Whelan and I met with student council, said, and I was really proud of it, they said, if at all possible, they wanted to have a traditional graduation at the Honeywell Center, which I think speaks volumes of that classy event, classy venue. I think it's, again, I'm biased, but I think it's the best in the state of Indiana. It's a beautiful venue, class act, and So they wanted to do it, and there's a lot of unknowns, and we feel like every time we release some new information, we have a asterisk that says subject to change depending on health conditions and updates from our governor. And so what we're going to do is on our date that was going to be graduation May 29th at 5 p.m., our kids are going to meet up in the parking lot of Alumni Field, and we're going to line them up. And I believe Mr. Galley has already released on social media the senior parade tour route, and we're going to parade them around both north and south side of Wabash, and that parade or caravan's going to end in the Horseshoe Drive at the high school, where the kids will receive their diplomas. We certainly felt like we wanted to get those diplomas to kids as soon as possible. We have a handful of kids who are headed off to the service, and we felt like we needed to get that to them and recognize them before they did that. Also, our class valedictorian Taylor Kaufman is headed off on a mission trip prior to that July 31st date, and so we wanted to recognize him as well. And so we're going to do that on the 29th at 5 p.m. And then on July 31st, we're scheduled to have a formal graduation as traditional as possible in Ford Theater at 7 p.m. And so we're going to closely work with Mr. Minnick and the Honeywell Center, taking their guidance and also guidance from Governor Holcomb and making sure that we keep everybody safe. And so we don't know what exactly that looks like as far as the audience attendance or other social distancing guidelines, but we wanted to at least make this attempt to hold this on the 31st of July. And then also, and Mr. Whelan, I believe, may add a little bit more to this when the principals speak, but they also have put together a prom on August 1st in front of the high school. And so again, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of guidance on what that looks like, but we wanted to try to provide those opportunities for our kids who have been great representatives of Wabash High School and Wabash City Schools for the last 13 years. Just released, we are not having a teacher staff day, usually at the end of the year. Mr. Cantrell's got a visitor there. She gonna say something during your part?
She has her graduation headband on, so.
Okay, fantastic. We usually at that last teacher staff day recognize our teacher of the year, our staff member of the year, administrator of the year, our retiring teachers and staff. And we just felt like in this Zoom environment, it would fall short. And so our goal is try to hold that back in the fall when we come back, actually late summer when we come back. So we released nominations. We asked staff to nominate for those 3 positions. And so we released that just the other day. So please, for our staff, please nominate Teacher of the Year, Staff Member of the Year, and Administrator of the Year. Summer school, we're working on that plan right now. That's due to the state by June 1st. And so we're looking to try to, based on the Governor Holcomb's 5-stage approach, we're not able to do anything face-to-face until after June 30th, but we thought we might try to do some virtual summer school programming in June, and then try to do some face-to-face if we're able to in July. We're still looking to do the driving portion of driver's ed if we're allowed to in July as well. So stay tuned to that. I know we're reaching out to students and families to see if there's interest. I wanted to just update the board. One of the things we talked about this year was we didn't really have a district-wide vision for special education or district-wide processes. And so we're beginning that. Ann Higgins, the director of Wabash Miami Area Program, is going to help facilitate that. And so that committee is going to be starting in the next few weeks. And then Mr. Vale, our IT director, held and facilitated a online programming committee to dig into what does this look like moving forward, and could we roll out in the fall of 20 some type of hybrid programming where we have both in class and then also digital instruction as well. And so our faculty and administration is working on building that plan out. Very excited about that. Finally, I'd like to thank Shannon McBride, our transportation director, and Mr. Jeff Wilson, too, our mechanic. And they had help from several bus drivers as well. They passed the annual bus inspections with flying colors. And I think we had one bus we knew it wasn't going to pass, and that's up for sale, but everything else is good to go. I just really appreciate all the work that they did to get those buses ready. Again, nothing is easy in this new environment, but they did a fantastic job. I know Shannon sang the praises of several of her bus drivers, and throughout this entire experience, there's been a lot of people that have served and donated their time and efforts, whether it's faculty and staff that have come out and helped Melanie deliver lunches or helping transport those lunches. We've had just tremendous outpouring from our staff, and very excited to move into next year when we take a deep dive into the culture audit that we did this past spring with IUK, and work on building out that tribe culture that we want for Wabash City Schools. Other than that, I just want to thank everybody in our organization for all that they've done. This is our last official week. And again, I just want to thank them. I want to thank our parents and our kids for their patience and their resilience during this incredibly unique time.
All right, thank you. Items from Chief Business Officer.
The only thing I have is that Mr. Maxwell and Mrs. Honeycutt and I met this week with some vendors, and we're starting to put together a plan so that when we do get back to school as normal and we get back into buildings, we'll be able to provide hand sanitizers in every classroom and every restroom and every locker room, that we'll have a plan for sanitizing the cafeteria spaces, and we'll have a plan for disinfecting restroom and locker room spaces, weight room spaces, so that we make sure that we're doing everything we can to have everything healthy when we get back to normal, which is hopefully soon.
Right. Items from visitors.
I think all the
I'll start
administrators.
from LH Carpenter.
Thanks, Kathy. Go ahead.
I'll start from LH Carpenter. As Jason alluded, we are at the end of the year, and so our teachers have opted. They still need that closure, so many of them are running off either preschool completion, because some of them are returning for another year, or a diploma, and just putting together a little package, and then they're going to drop them off at the doors of the students just to kind of get that face-to-face goodbye. And I'm hoping to be able to go with each teacher as long as they don't overlap. Enrollment for next year is going on, believe it or not, and we're not sitting too bad for COVID-19. Our dual immersion, if you recall, when we first started out, we had a class of 9. This year we had a class of 18, and currently we're at 23 for next year. So, and then I have another preschool class sitting at 15, plus 6 of our IEP kids will be doing a dual placement. So she'll have like 18 in the morning and then 18 in the afternoon. Another preschool that's sitting with 15, and she's got 3 IEP kids. So we're doing a lot of dual placement with our developmental pre-K, which is wonderful, to try to get that inclusion in. So we're sitting with 14 in the morning of that class and 13 right now in the afternoon. So altogether, we have about 59 signed up right now, and at the end of this year, we had 71. So we're about down 12 students. So I still look forward to having some when we do, hopefully registration or some kind of registration, but I feel pretty good about the numbers, and we're getting calls. Kenny gave me one today off the website. So we just keep plugging away. That's it.
Any questions for Ms. Wilson? Okay, next.
Yeah, I'll go for OJ Neighbors. Like Mr. Callahan had stated, first and foremost, I just want to thank our entire staff and families for an incredible year. Wednesday is our official last day of school, and the staff will get an opportunity to celebrate virtually together. So we will be able to get everybody to connect one more time Wednesday after school. I want to give thanks to Sarah Delgadillo. She has been instrumental in facilitating interviews for candidates from Spain. So this week, I think we have actually 5 candidates that we're interviewing. So that is always exciting. We have a 2nd grade position and a 3rd grade position to hire. May 26th and May 27th, we will be collecting devices out in front of OJ Neighbors. Families that opt to turn in their iPads will choose a time, and they'll drive right up to the front drive, and the office staff will be there to be able to collect those devices and help answer any questions that any parents, guardians may have at that time. And then the other exciting thing is we are brainstorming summer programming for OJ Neighbors. Typically, we have the Spark program that runs that is only available for kids in grades kindergarten through 2nd grade. But this year, we sent out a survey just to gauge interest for kids that may be interested in any kind of programming in kindergarten through 4th grade, from remediation to enrichment and interest in DLI for the summer. So it's exciting. We have about 60 kids that have replied to that survey saying that they're interested in it. So it's an exciting opportunity.
Are all of the DLI candidates from Spain? Or are they any of them here in the States already? Combination?
I know Sarah's trying to think outside the box so we can get as many candidates as we can, but the interviews that we have slated for this week are all from Spain. Yes.
Any
That's all I have.
any other questions for Mrs. Tracy? Not. Mr. Mattern? Is Mr. Mattern on?
I don't think Mr. Mattern joined us tonight,
Okay.
or maybe
How about I unmute myself? There
He's
we go.
on, but
There he is.
So that first part was really good, but no, I'm just kidding. It has definitely been an interesting end to our school year. It's bittersweet for everyone, and this week feels like there's not much closure. So it's definitely a little bit different for us, but I certainly want to, as everybody else has done, is thank their incredible staffs. The middle school, I think we continue to push kids and help kids continue forward educationally, and that was our goal setting out, and that was a great goal for us to have, and I thought we worked very collaboratively to do that. So I'd also like to thank the parents who were our support teachers through all of this. I know it's been tough on a lot of them. I think for some reason I hear like when you hit 5th grade math from parents, I hear like, it's just different than what I used to do. But they would call us when they needed help. They would email us. And I really think that a silver lining of all of this is the stronger relationships that we're going to have with our families because of this. So I think in all of that, that has been great. I'm extremely proud of the students also who have worked in an environment that none of us were really looking to do. And I don't think any of us signed up for, but they, for the most part, really stepped up and found ways to be successful. So I'm super proud of all of those folks. And again, I look forward to having kids back in the building. That's what we're built to do, and that's what we're best at. And there's no doubt that all of us miss those kiddos a great deal. So we do have our master schedule set for next year, so that's awesome. We've coordinated that with the high school. I know Mrs. Tracy is working with her 4th grade team to get our classes set for 5th grade, which is always a great benefit to us because they know the climate of the kids and know what our teachers are like and really try to match up their kids for the greatest success. So we appreciate both ends there as we're kind of stuck in the middle and working with both ends to get some success going. But unfortunately, there's a lot of closure things we won't have this year, and that's probably a little bit rough to our 8th graders. It just seems maybe too much to push a ceremony to July and do that. So I'll have something videoed and out to them this week. But it's bittersweet to not have our field day and be able to say goodbye. So that part is definitely different for us, but we're very proud of everyone and looking forward to Mr. Stone making sure that we all have hand sanitizers in every room and everything is cleaned up so we can get those kiddos back where they belong. So it's been a journey. It's been a good one, and we've learned a lot. And I look forward to next year. So thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Mattern? If not, Mr. Wheeland?
Yeah, Mr. Callahan talked about the dates we've finally been able to set. I know for the last month and a half, a lot of things have been up in the air. Been having conversations with students, with teachers. Our intent all along was to still be able to, provide these great opportunities especially for our seniors, but also some of our underclassmen. So it was kind of nice. We made a lot of progress this past week on getting some dates set. Obviously, when we get closer to that time, we'll need to make some adjustments based on the current environment. But I think it's going to be really neat. We'd talked about doing an outdoor prom for quite some time. And, one of the worst parts about how the school year ended, at least on our school grounds, is those seniors leave on a Friday and that's their last, kind of memory of being at Wabash High School. So the fact that August 1st, we're looking at hosting that prom outside of the front of the building, I think will be as good of a send-off as you can possibly imagine for those students who are taking part in that. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity. Once again, I can't thank my faculty and staff enough. They've been such a big part of not only providing the instruction, but also trying to coordinate these events. The end of our school year, we have a lot of different awards and celebrations, recognitions as well. Our academic letters, scholarship day, teacher awards. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out how to do. And that's just on top of, the e-learning instruction that they're providing. So I couldn't be, happier with all the efforts that they're putting forth to make sure that we're still being able to recognize our students for all of their outstanding work. Some, seniors, these scholarships are a big deal and they've worked for a long time to earn them. So we want to make sure that we get them the recognition that they deserve. So we're still finishing that up. I believe that everything as far as our awards will be able to be opened up live on our website on the 29th. That's the intent. We're recording a lot of that stuff, but then once we compile it on the website, that'll be available. So a lot of good things happening. Just the idea of being able to have this parade, I think, is a great thing to celebrate the end of the school year for those seniors. And then also the fact that we're looking at more of a traditional graduation and a prom, I think is awesome. So questions?
All right, with no questions, items from board members. Kip?
I would just say thank you to the staff and the administration, everything you did. I know there's a lot of kids out there that they're stuck at home, don't have the best home life, and it sounds like our SRO, our principals and the teachers, they just do a great job in reaching out to those kids, and it may not mean a lot now, but it will when they look back on it. And just thank you. Proud to be part of it.
Rhonda?
I just want to give a personal shout out to my kids' teachers, Mrs. Stanley and Miss Lane. They've been available and caring, as I know all the other teachers have. I've just been really appreciative. And one thing I hope that comes out of this is how much parents appreciate their kids' teachers and maybe not take them for granted next year. But I'm super excited for things that have, coming up, that we're doing a prom, that we're, doing a senior parade. I think a senior parade would be cool to do every year. We had it when I was in high school, not with a diploma at the end, but I think that would be cool to recognize them that way. And I think it's great that we're having an actual ceremony. So I'm proud of the direction things are going in.
Right. Tony?
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate, we've said a lot, but we've got a great team. Appreciate everybody's efforts to bring everything that's best for kids. That's what it's all about. From Heartland, I can say that they've been doing the same thing. And they're already talking about how they can do better next year if they're doing the distance learning, e-learning. And for the kids in the first year of the CDL program, they have arranged for one-on-one teacher and student driving training this summer, and followed by a test. They have the opportunity to get a license. So they're really working hard to make sure that happens. I'm real proud of that team as well. And next year, this year we had about, I don't remember exactly the number, between 500 and 550 kids. There's over 700 signed up next year. A lot of kids.
Stephen had to leave the meeting early, but he sent me a text and just wanted to make sure that Hagerman was thanked for their work. And he also wanted to thank our lunch workers. Said they have offered a lot of families in our community some hope and reminders that Wabash City School cares. So that was from Mr. Dafo. For me, it's hard to believe that Wednesday will be the last day of school, even though we haven't been in the buildings for a while. I want to thank all of our staff, administrators. You guys were thrown a difficult hand, and you really stepped up to the plate and handled it really well, and provided support for our kids, the information that they needed in a way that we had never done before. And you guys really stepped up and handled it really well. And I'm really proud of each and everybody for that. As a parent, I want to thank the administrators for all they're doing for our seniors. Having a senior this year, and all that they missed out on their last couple of months of school. Our mission statement says that we're founded upon relationships, and the things that we're doing for our kids, even though they won't be in our school system after Wednesday, the things that we're still doing for them and trying to do for them to make the end of their school career memorable. That's just living our mission statement. So thank you for everybody that's been working toward that. Really appreciate it. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, a second. And we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.